if I had to bet on it,
I thought you meant done like they were done.
No, I really don't see it. Again, negotiations are still ongoing, but I feel like might get to test the free agent market before anything happens.
It's Niko Moreno, my co-host of Lobbing Scorchers Kickoff. Thanks for tapping in. We've been discoursing here for the last couple hours on this calendar.
Yeah,
Seattle Sounders stuff. Let's get your takes on the calendar change. We gave our takes, but what was your reaction to that seismic shift in the history of Major League Soccer?
Yeah, hour 51. I'm glad because I don't got a lot of time, but I did want to do a quick hit with you guys. Look, I think it was necessary. I believe that it is the step necessary to put MLS in a different level. I've been saying that I do believe what the Opta rankings showed, and that MLS is a top 10 league in the world. And this puts you on track to be better than that. It's not just about being aligned with the best leagues in the world and the majority of the international transfer window in order to, one, sell more players and more of that domestic talent that you have been so effectively getting out abroad, but also giving teams a better opportunity to cash in on the players that you can afford. There's no longer going to be the excuse of, it's difficult because the summer window falls in a time where it's hard to get players. That's out the door. That's out. There's no getting away from that. I've spoken to several sporting directors, GMs, and coaches today, and they have all been just excited about this change and happy about it. And they kind of felt like it took too long to get here, but it's finally here. And it's not just about buying and selling players. It also minimizes the amount of times that teams have to play without those players that go play internationally with their national teams. How many times do we see the Sounders have to go without Christian Roldan, Obed, at one point with Niko, Raul?
Remember when we had to call up a bunch of fucking random Defiance players?
There was one time where they were missing. It was like 9 or 10 guys.
Yeah,
that's a thing of the past now, right? Because there might be some times where maybe because I've seen it happen in other leagues where there are times where you do get some slight overlap, but you're going to diminish it so much more. I also think that playing the vast majority of your early games in the winter, where climate tends to be more difficult to move along because of rain or storm or of lightning, stuff like that, it'd be easier to move than playoff games. Playoff games you can't move around, right? There's no postponing. It's just more difficult. I think that even with the NFL schedule, that was my biggest concern. Having it early on might give the Sounders, or will give the Sounders, and will give the Sounders, Charlotte, Atlanta, a better way to move around it, right? They'd be able to really try to figure out how to get it moved, because you do have that ability to postponed or move early games rather than playoff games. And that's a big deal. And finally, I even think that the playoff format is going to be better. Right now, if I'm New York City FC, I'm pissed. I mean, rhythm, I just beat Charlotte. I want the game to come now. Yeah. Martinez is flying. Nico Fernandez is killing it. I don't want it to go away. I don't want him to cool down. Now I got to wait a week and a half for them to get back out there. So all of those things will be a thing of the past, man. And I'm just excited for it.
What do you think about the added bonus of no longer having your first games of the season be CONCACAF Champions Cup? Like, you actually get to be more competitive, more fluid in all of that. Obviously, the Sounders, they didn't need to worry about that. They won that shit. No big deal. But, that's always been a big thing, is like Major League Soccer is not competitive in the early stages of the tournament because, frankly, these are their first games.
The stack is stacked against them. Like,
yeah, I mean, Ari and I talked about the Sounders being bounced off by Olympia in CONCACAF Champions League. I don't think that happens if the team is in rhythm and they're, farther into the season. And so, yeah, I think that that's huge. We're always going to be compared and competing with Liga MX, this allows you to be at an even ground. That's another conversation of the past, is the narrative that, certain tournaments really depend, if MLS is winning is because MX teams are not in rhythm, and if Liga MX teams are winning the tournaments, then it's because vice versa, right? So all of those things are now going to be not a real narrative, and it will allow the product to speak for itself. I'm also excited about the Apple wall for MLS Season Pass coming down. I think it's going to be a huge deal for MLS right before the World Cup, right? Look, my dad is not the best guy when it comes to apps, even on a smartphone. And the fact that he had to pay twice, right, he really hated it, right? Okay, so I don't get it. So I got to pay for Apple TV and I got to pay for the MLS Season Pass. Like, I don't get it. Dad, you know what? I got you. It's fine. I'll get it for you. But now, you don't have that. So I think that you will get a different spectrum of viewers. It'd be easier to do it. So I like that. The fact that the Canadian teams are going to be able to be treated per FIFA as domestic teams, and they're going to be able to enjoy the same lucrative benefits of just having the aligned calendar is great. So overall, I just think these are all the changes that we've been waiting for. I don't love the division thing. 6 teams, 5 divisions. I don't know how that's going to work out. I like the single
table and divisions.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I really don't. I like the single table, and it makes sense.
Someone
but then you bring up the divisions. I don't get it.
Someone said in chat that that you would essentially play every team on the table once, and then people in your division twice.
But do the standings of the division actually affect anything other than if you finish
No,
first?
I think it's literally just like a regionalization of your stuff.
Oh,
So
that
you're
kinda-
getting
I like that.
You're getting 2 Vancouver Portland games. You're getting 2 Sounders Vancouver games. You're getting 2 Portland. Like, I think it's trying to keep the regional rivalry where you get a home and away series for it. While
that
doing
actually
That's at least what I understand.
sounds like it could be kind of
Yeah,
fun. Like
that works.
the divisional games effectively become like other derbies, even if it's not like your typical rival. Like a divisional rivalry can kind of take on its own thing. I think that could be kind of sick.
Yeah. And I think the biggest point of emphasis of what you just said is teams playing every team. There's so many teams that don't play each other that it just seems odd that it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world or the top leagues. Everybody plays everybody at least once, and it's odd. The fact that Miami's never traveled to Seattle. Oh, well, they did once. I think
they did
in MLS play.
They did
once.
famously.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah,
they did it. Didn't they play their inaugural game here?
I don't know if inaugural, but one game I remember because
their first ever game was played against us. I'm pretty sure
it could be.
That was
I remember
LAFC.
But no, there was a year where it was like we FC Cincinnati's first match was against us.
Yeah.
LAFC's first match was against us, and I'm pretty sure that we also played against Miami. Yeah, Yedlin scored against us here. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Kurt Smith was still part of the
We can figure this out.
the front office of Inter Miami, and so yeah, they were here for sure. But yeah, so there's just a lot of teams that just don't play each other all the time, and I think that's going to be beneficial to really feel like your team is going against everyone, and the parity, is it gonna continue? Is it not? All of it is going to be part of this change of calendars, and I just think that
is not against us.
Yeah, the product is going to be so much better with the change of calendars. And I've yet to hear negatives about it, except for season ticket holders. I've had a couple of people message me directly about how they don't feel like they're going to renew their season tickets because it feels. And what I would tell anyone who feels that way is just give it time. Change is difficult. But I promise you that when it's all said and done, the changes will not feel as severe as they might right now, because you're clearly playing in the exact same times of the year, right? You're going to have a winter break. You're not going to play mid-December, all of January, where it's the heaviest. Same thing you used to before. You're starting mid-February, where at certain times you were playing CONCACAF Champions League. I mean, the timelines are almost the same. All you're doing is flipping where it starts and where it ends. And I would love a May MLS Cup. I mean, that just sounds great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You have to tell me if it was Will Kuntz you talked to, because I have a message for him. and what he did to my beautiful LA Galaxy. I'm just kidding.
No. Kuntz is not one of the guys that I've talked to.
We don't leak sources here.
Have you seen a lot? There has been a lot of blowback on just the. I think the weather thing is what most people are hung up on. There seems to be a perception that there's going to be a lot more games in the colder markets in like the dead of winter. Which you were at those Toronto MLS Cups, weren't you? Like
no, I did not get to go, but I did hear the horror stories.
Okay, well, I was,
but and that makes sense, and I can see where their individual teams are going to be concerned about attendance for certain games. Right, that Toronto game was sold out because it was a final. If that game is week 4 of MLS play, I don't know how many people show up, but I do feel like there is enough infrastructure within MLS to understand that those colder regions are going to be playing away a lot at certain parts of the year, right? Minnesota and Chicago and Toronto, those teams are going to play away, and that's the way you handle it. That's the way you move it. You modify it. There are enough stadiums and there's enough that goes into setting up the calendar that I don't think it's going to be as big as you may think. And I think that the amount of games that you might miss out on are the same that you would have to essentially miss out for thunderstorms or hurricanes or whatever it is that we have around weather these days. So, it really doesn't change as much. It's just, again, people hate change. And look, believe me, I have a hard time even posting stuff on Blue Sky sometimes because I go directly to the same one that I've been using this whole time, right? So it's just going to be a learning curve. But I promise you that 5, 8, 10 years from now, people are going to be like, wow, I'm glad that we made the change. Some might not even know how important it was to make that change.
Did it surprise you how fast they did it? I was kind of...
No, me and Jeremiah had been talking about it. It was kind of funny because when Paul Tenorio, obviously they had a lot more information, but, Jeremiah and I had been mentioning that the change was coming in 2027. I had been talking to players.
See, I missed the
about
2027 aspect of it. I remember we were talking about it on KJR and stuff, but for some reason in my head, I was like, I thought you were talking about like 2037,
Oh, no. Yeah, 2027, the transitional mini tournament or condensed tournament, from
MLS
February to May.
MLS
is back 2.0. Yeah, maybe that's what we should call it. I don't know.
The banner.
So that's gonna that we all knew it was coming. Obviously, the whole divisions and a lot of the other things. There was a point where Jeremiah and I thought that there was going to be a apertura clausura type of situation. Obviously, that's not part of it. I like the single table better. 1 year. I'm with you. I don't love it, although it's a very Latin American thing, but I just don't like it. So yeah, no, I really do believe that every single decision that has been made, to me, not just makes sense, but it's very cohesive for what we've seen out of MLS, for what the teams are hoping to do, for the academy product that's coming out from the U.S. Soccer Federation. I'm stoked. I could not be any happier about it. I had one coach tell me that, no, you know what? No, but he was going to bring somebody big. He was going to bring someone big, and he was unable to do it, specifically, 1, because of the summer window, and 2, because of the possibility of not making the playoffs and being essentially put in the freezer for 3 or 4 months. Because if you don't make the playoffs in MLS, the offseason's pretty hard.
Listen, if chat gives a super chat, maybe Niko will leak some more information on what this is.
No, I will give you some things on the Sounders before I go. I've been following closely the Obed Vargas situation, and unfortunately, there's nothing new, and that concerns me a bit. They're ongoing, that's the positive. Negotiations are ongoing. They have not stopped, but they are convoluted. And between compensation and the terms, when certain things hit, it's a difficult situation. So
negotiating on a U22 or on
a U22. That's right. On a U22 contract and beyond.
What is complicated
right?
about that? You have to give them the max. What's with like?
Well, that's the complicated part. That sometimes the max might not be enough, and the Sounders,
but yeah,
and the Sounders might not be able to do beyond that, or there's a lot of things. I'm not saying that's the problem. I'm saying that there is a lot of situations that have emerged, but the Sounders continue to feel confident that something will get done, but it is getting convoluted, and I told you guys that there's a time clock on it. If the Sounders want to do themselves a favor and make sure that they get something of this, product of the academy, it might have to be done in January.
He's going to walk away on a free. It's going to happen.
That's what this is.
That's the
all
one thing that
leading
can't
up to.
happen.
It's going to happen.
That can't happen. That can't.
It's going to happen.
They've taken a lot of criticism for not just getting the U22 thing done with him like during the season or earlier this season, but like, I mean, is there a reason why him and his camp would have been resistant?
Well, didn't
to
he
that?
change? He changed representation, right?
He did change representation.
They're
now. He
cooking
exactly. Exactly. That's part of it, right? You change representation. This obviously he's a guy that understands the market a lot differently, so that complicates things. And so it's all part of the difficult components of negotiations. But before I go, obviously, the one that I think is, in my opinion, done and over with might be Paul Rothrock's.
Ooh,
I just don't see
like done, like they're not going to agree on anything.
Like you might not agree. They might. If I had to bet on it,
I thought you meant done like they were done.
No, I really don't see it. Again, negotiations are still ongoing, but I feel like Paul might get to test the free agent market before anything happens. So that's the one I wanted to leave you guys with before I went out. I'm sorry for the bad news. Things could still get done,
honestly,
but
it's
but
unfortunate.
the probability is pretty high that Paul Rothrock is. It might be a situation where it's like, all right, Paul, right? This is what you believe you're worth. Go see if you can get it out there. And if you can, then, more power to you. If you can't, this is what we have here for you. Oh, no, I feel bad for Noah because I know. And look, I love Paul Rothrock and I don't know.
The writing's kind of been on the wall with this. I've heard nothing to the effect that they've ever been close on anything. Everything I've heard is like there's never been a point where they've been aligned.
No, I got the right idea. Yep. So it is really something that would be unfortunate because it's been such a great story. Paul Rothrock is a guy that I think all three of us love to see on the field. He has empowered this team. He's been such a key piece, right, of this fluid attack and a guy coming off the bench and the attitude and everything that comes with Paul Rothrock. But at the end of the day, there's always a number. And that number is not going to move. And if Paul feels like he can get, I don't know, 830,000, I believe is the max he could get. He feels like he could get that out there.
Is someone really going to give him that? That's my only question. Is his value,
He could
value,
get that, I feel like.
But like if you're DC United or something, does 830K for Paul Rothrock? Like, I think in my biased opinion, that's a good investment. But like,
if I'm a team in the championship, oh brother, I'm putting a bid on that.
That I was thinking like, I was thinking MLS free agency, but yeah.
You know what? I don't want it to happen though. I don't want him to be a guy that goes out there, gets paid, and then his career just has this huge decline and he doesn't get on the field and he becomes a bench player. And then
that could happen if you would think there's a lot of mutual benefit to be had from finding a middle ground where it is like, we're all Paul Rothrock fans. We want him to stay here. But I understand from the club's perspective when you have a situation where he's making 100K and the leap that is being asked for is to 830. I don't even know if that's
I got the number from Jeremiah, who obviously he's a monster when it comes to this sort of situation, and apparently that's the max he can get. So if he's hoping to get that elsewhere and somebody pays it, then I guess it's his prerogative as well. But again, nothing can guarantee you playtime. Same thing goes for Obed. I wish the best for Obed. But to me, the best possible scenario is that you take the $1 million, that's the max amount for a U22. You guarantee yourself a year because his main objective this season has been getting on Mexico's national team. He's getting called up right now. He's going to perform. But if he wants to stay on that plane ride, well, I guess not because he's in the USA, but if he wants to stay part of Javier Aguirre's team, you got to be playing. And if all of a sudden you move to, I don't know, PSV, and there's a learning curve and you're not getting minutes, you're not getting called up, plain and simple. So for me, it felt like a better idea to just take that max money, continue to play, guarantee yourself that if there's an injury, if there's I don't know, anything that happens in the world these days, and you're insured. You have a contract that you can kind of back up on, and then your talent will speak for itself, and eventually you're going to end up in Europe. But this way, man, it's just very complicated. You're forcing it already. It might just be difficult. And again, Obit's such a great kid, such a talent, that I just want to see him make all the right choices.
Wow. All right. Yeah, definitely a couple of very interesting off-season storylines that we'll be keeping tabs on. We know you'll be on those beats. So yeah, appreciate that.
I'm excited for the offseason. I don't think that there's going to be enormous changes. The DP spots are taken. There's a core group, and I've said it before. I think that that's a positive, that you know that you have this core group that's going to go into 2026, and you're going to be able to perform, and you're going to have a good team, and you know who your goalkeeper is, your center back, your midfield for the most part. So yeah, it's a good thing, and you're going to add talent, and I feel like it's going to be another good 2026 season for the Sounders. But I appreciate you guys.
One more for you real quick before you head out. MLS free agency, Christian Espinoza, Walker Zimmerman. Should the Seattle Sounders sign one, both, or neither?
Oh, I don't want Zimmerman at all. He's too pricey. He's lost a step or two. I know Yeimar hasn't had his best season. He would tell you that himself, right? Usually he is like, man, I should have been a finalist for MLS Defender of the Year. He didn't say anything. Now, he's not going to throw himself under the bus because he's a guy that works hard all the time. But I think that, there is a collaborative unit thing where I feel like defensively the team has schematically had some issues, but there's just individual moments where I can absolutely be honest about it and say, yeah, Yeimar should not be in there. Even in the last game, I'm not gonna crucify him for it, but it's a clumsy foul that he gives up for the Pereira thing, right? I don't think he meant to do it. I don't think that it was necessary. It was just clumsy on that side. But when he has this sort of things, nobody takes it as hard as he does. I can absolutely see him just having a crazy off season and coming back just as a lean, mean defending machine. So for me, he's going to have a big 2026 for sure. He's on a contract here. He's got a club option that's been picked up, as I reported. He wants to remain in Seattle. He wants to, get another 3 years here. And he needs to get out there and prove it. And I think he will, because he is a guy like that. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be, grumpy and just, no, he got a whole bunch of dog in him. I mean, he's got dog in him. And I think he's going to have a great season to make sure that he has a good guarantee contract.
What about Espinoza?
I'm taking Espinoza. I love Espinoza. I think Espinoza's obviously, with Pedro's injury, he just fits right in. He still gives Georgie and all these guys time. Paul Arriola, I could see him being a great left back. And look, Espinoza played wing back 3 or 4 times. Nuhu's a guy who I believe might be gone. I think there might be a market for him. Obviously, they're going to pick up his option, but I think that he's a guy that might be in the market, and you might be looking for a transitional moment there. He could probably benefit too out of a new horizon. So yeah, I think he's a player that might be on the trade block at some point.
I would be so lit if they got Christian Espinoza.
I love Christian, man. He's great.
Do you think he presses enough for Schmetz?
I mean, he did play wing back for a little bit, so I think he's defensive.
I'm not really sure if he's like a work rate player.
Pressing. I don't know about that, but his services, his creativity,
service, through balls.
Yeah, no, I love Christian.
Offensively, he's like a perfect fit for the system,
and he's a good locker room guy. Oh, and him and Yeimar go back. So yeah, it's
they gotta make this happen. They gotta go get that guy.
I'm just saying.
Come on now, Craig. Let's go.
Craig,
I dig it.
We know you watch the pod. Get on that phone.
All right, Niko, we'll let you go.
All right. Appreciate you, fellas. Have a good one.